again, we're humans having a human experience. So let's just start there and do the best we can with all the external pressures of the numbers and the, all the objectives and things. But that shouldn't lose that human factor. And I think that's going to become more important in this world of AI and all these other things. We're still humans. Like, we need to stay, and I think connection's more important than ever now.
Yes. Give yourself permission to be human.
Yeah.
That's what I captured from all that you said. And it is
Yes.
so important in this day. It's part of your DNA and your signature to show up as yourself.
Yeah.
And it's not anyone else representative.
Yeah.
So in terms of, thank you for that, in terms of emotional intelligence competencies, and given your proven track record, I must say, of leading diverse global teams and advancing DI, what emotional intelligence skills do you find most critical for success at the executive level? So if you can think about key skills or competencies related to emotional intelligence, right, to drive success for all those aspiring women executive leaders who are listening and wondering what it will take for them to, elevate their career like you have, and to stay there in that success move, and be successful, and of course leave an excellent legacy.
Yeah. Well, to get to the executive level, you have to deliver results. Start there, and do it in a way that is very intentional, and
Yes.
and to ensure that you are I would say the higher, I don't like hierarchies, but let's just say that the more you move up in an organization, the more you have to have a very good understanding of more of the organization rather than just your role. So you go from being this like an individual performer, and now you really need to, even if you're not involved in finance or IT or HR, you still need to have a good lay of the land. So having that awareness, you don't have to be an expert in everything by any measure. I'm not saying that, but there needs to be so that's kind of what you need to know from an emotional intelligence standpoint. It's having that awareness that needs to be part of who you are now. Like, you need to continue to grow. And that's part of, new roles, whether you're going up, down, or sideways. New roles means new learning. So you constantly have to keep learning and never rest on your laurels. Never say, oh, well, I know this, so that's what I know. The less siloed you are, the more successful you can be.
Wonderful. And that definitely is a perfect segue into emotional intelligence training and development. That's what we are here, as BoostThru, that's what we offer: emotional intelligence and resilience strategies for organizations and for individuals, right? So they can live purposeful, passion-driven lives and have successful outcome where all can thrive in their culture. So I know you have pursued extensive professional development over the years as a trailblazing leader. And I know those, that development would have included certifications in executive leadership, positive change, and DEI. Now, thank you for, being that committed leader and for that continuous learning mindset that you do have. Have you personally engaged in any training or development programs to enhance your emotional intelligence in your entire career? Does any one particular training come to mind, and how that has influenced your leadership style?
That's an interesting question. I have continually learned. I've taken all kinds of university, boutique, all kinds of different kinds of learning and certification. I got involved early on in my career with the International Society of Sustainability Professionals, which is a wonderful organization for sustainability professionals, because you're often kind of one or a small team in an organization. This gives you a global community. And I, at one point, was president of that organization, where we created the certification for sustainability professionals. And so I really value the acknowledgement of having certain credentials, and you have to maintain and continue to do more for the profession in order to maintain your credential. And one of the things that I love and what I do, I'm currently also on the global advisory leadership team for the Global Mentorship Initiative. And
Yes.
through mentorship, that to me is one of the best. It's not a certification, but it's one of the best learning grounds for practical application of all the things that you're talking about. And I'm actually ironically starting my fourth mentorship this week with a gal, a Brazilian gal. Yeah.
Yes.
And but I find that that's a practical way. There's also the classroom ways and courses and things you can do. I have done some DEI certification, things like that, but I think again, just continually learning and growing and putting yourselves in new situations. I am a Blue Zone ambassador. I'm a certified Blue Zone ambassador because I really believe in everyone trying to live a longer, healthier life through basic principles of life. So I think that wherever you are drawn to continue to grow, I think that it's really important to do that.
Yes, yes, yes. And being a Blue Zone ambassador, clearly you demonstrating just bringing your true self, right? Showing up as your true self everywhere and just being intentional in promoting people, the well-being, as well as the planet's well-being, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you for that.
We're all interconnected.
All interconnected. I love it. And in terms of empowering authentic leadership, you've definitely been celebrated as a role model for women. Thank you for heading or leading global women mentorship initiatives. I know that the women leaders or the upcoming leaders have so much to receive from you with that remarkable career, and your heart posture. So thank you for that. So, and for your advocacy. So what does really authentic leadership? I know we spoke a little bit about that, but what does that mean to you, and how do you strive to embody it in your role?
Yeah. So for me, authentic leadership is really leading through your values, knowing who you are. What is it that drives me? What is it that I think is important in the world?
Mhm.
And to be consistent, because you can be in different situations, but your values should be constant. And so I heard a great example. I do love water skiing. So for those who water ski might relate to this, but the water ski is your values, and that's going to keep you keep you afloat on the water. And then the goals that you have are like the boat that's pulling you forward, like but you need to know who you are. And there's no right or wrong who you are. Yeah, you just are who you are. And so maybe it takes some soul searching, maybe you morph and change over time, but know who you are. And that will give you the strength and the resilience to go and do what you need to do, where your heart calls you and what you want to do. So, I really do think it starts with your values and living true to your values, being authentic with those values. And like I said earlier, like show up, get up, show up, do what you can do, move forward always, and just never give up.
Yeah, thank you. And that's really from an individual perspective, what authenticity means to you, how you embody it on a day-to-day basis. Now, if we look at it from, inspiring team authenticity, right? Because your collaborative approach and commitment to inclusivity have really galvanized collective action and empowered diverse voices in your organizations where you've worked, right? Which obviously authenticity and engagement, causing, that to thrive in those environments. How do you empower and inspire your team members? If we can talk about the ones, team members in the current freelance consulting role, to embrace their authentic selves within the workplace, which is very important as entrepreneurs.
Yes, it is. So I'll get back to the humans having a human experience. Take the time. Take the time to have fun and be creative and find out. Saskia, what do you like to do? What are you doing? Find out what people are interested in and connect on a personal level. Again, we're not robots. And, yes, we're doing work, but if you love what you're
Mhm.
doing, maybe it's not as much work as it is, just experiencing life and trying to do good things. So I really think that, as simple as it sounds, maybe simple things are better, right? Is get to know each other, take the time. We live in a world where we go back to back to back meetings, and there's
Mhm.
not even a 5 minute break. And usually there's people trickling in late, and you get right down to business. And I get that, but there needs to be deliberate, meaningful interaction, whether it's in person, or if you can't get in person, you need to get creative and you need to find ways. And if you care about people, it's actually easier than people might think. So I think as a leader, that's one of the responsibilities, is to try and foster that culture of open, honest communication, have some fun,
Mhm.
you know, make it real, make it enjoyable.
Deliberate, meaningful interactions. I love that one. To take away. So in terms of brilliantly said, in terms of building strategic and personal resilience networks, right? Because we all know the importance of support networks in our lives, right? So I know
Yeah.
you very well on the Leadership Advisory Council for the Global Mentorship Initiative. Um, Thank you for doing that. And you've helped, launch industry first certifications for sustainability professionals. And so your career really underscores the value of strong, supportive networks to women leaders. How important it is to you, Maureen, to have a strong network of support as a former, chief sustainability officer, executive, and now as a freelance consultant.
Well, networks is, what do they say? Your network is your net worth. But your networks,
So,
to me, and some people, the term networking sometimes makes people feel kind of wiggly. It's all about connecting with people. I keep coming back to that kind of theme. We're people. I'll stand true to that. Oh, we are people. But it's fun. I love connect. I'm a dot connector. I mean, I'm a systems thinker. So for me, it's just instinctive to, if I meet you, I'll probably think of other people who I think you should meet, opportunities that might be interesting for you. So from that perspective, it's called networking, but for me, it's connecting, and it needs to be genuine. It needs to be authentic. Like I said, I've been working virtual for so long. I'm a heavy LinkedIn networker, connector.
yeah.
And that's how we met. I mean, that's how people meet.
That's
I've
how
had,
exactly. I have that quality too. So I identify with that as a connector and engager on the behavioral
yeah,
test.
yeah, yeah. Not trying to, I don't need a bunch of followers to be followers, and I don't need to follow. If there's
Exactly.
meaningful, interaction and engagement, and you're interesting, I think I might be able to find someone who could help you. I mean, that's fun. And that to me is kind of life and living. And I'm an extrovert, so maybe that helps. But either way, it's really, for me, it's about connecting, and then kind of this back to that DEI of doing everything intentionally, authentically,
Yes.
just trying to like get the most out of life. I believe that the more you give, the more you get what you reap what you sow. So
Exactly that. Right? It always multiplies.
yes,
So you clearly have championed the creation of safe spaces, right? As a well-being expert, right? You know the importance of emotionally safe spaces, promoting that and mentorship opportunities for women in sustainability and helping others really navigate the challenges within that field. What steps do you take to build and maintain your strategic and personal resilience networks? Outside of what you might have described before.
well, I think getting involved with organizations that align with your values. So let's take the blue zones, for example. I live in Scottsdale. The city is trying to get certified with blue zones.
Mhm.
I've been a fan of the blue zones for years. I would have blue zone parties where recipe and the blue zones cookbook, and I'd change all my lights to blue, and we'd wear blue. So I have fun with it, and finding organizations and purpose and causes that are meaningful. The Global Mentorship Initiative, absolutely love it. It's one of the most amazing organizations. It's just having such an impact in people's lives. And both as a mentor and a mentee, it's amazing. And so there's ways to engage in life that are very
Mhm.
purposeful, that help you grow, that help other people grow. And I think the more
Mhm.
people can find those things, it's different for everybody, like what it is that really gets you excited. And then that's how you can really have that impact and go out and, create the world that you want to be a part of. It's a gift
Yes.
we all have sitting right in front of us. It's just a matter of going and opening it up, see what's inside.
Yes, definitely. I love that philosophy. Now, you've advocated for bold steps like setting gender diversity targets and aligning with the women's empowerment principles, right, as a DEI leader. Now, your leadership clearly has advanced both organizational and industry-wide progress on gender equity within the sustainability sector. What initiatives or strategies do you believe can really help promote gender diversity, inclusion, right, in within the leadership roles or at the executive level?
Yeah. So in every role I've had, I'm a big fan of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, of which there
Mhm.
are 17, and they're globally agreed upon, really challenges slash opportunities that affect everyone in the world. We're all interconnected. We are a global community, and what I love about the goals is that they provide everyone something very tangible that they can say, oh, I really
Mhm.
care about this. I can really help out with this. So you're talking about
Mhm.
women, that's Sustainable Development Goal 5, and that's around gender equity and promoting that. And again, so if we take that just at a kind of sort of a more micro level within an organization, what can you do? Well, at every company I've been at, we've started the women's employee resource group, which provides a place for voices to facilitate and activate change within your organization. So there's the obvious thing with an employee resource group is a place to convene with common, issues, challenges, goals. It's another to
Mhm.
enact real change. So you mentioned the United Nations Women Empowerment Principles, which is something that any organization can sign on to, which we've done.
Mhm.
We've been involved with a number of different initiatives with different companies at the UN level and other types of initiatives. And I think it's important for companies to identify what makes sense for them and then truly commit, not just sign up, but truly commit. And then what changes you're going to make. You start tracking kind of how you go to market. How do you hire? Where do you go? One of the examples I often talk about is employee referral programs, which sounds great, right? Someone,
Mhm.
so but what happens with employee referral programs, the downside, and I think companies need to be careful, you start to get a bunch of the same people from the same schools, you get the same people with the same background. So sometimes that philosophy could backfire because you're narrowing your search if you're relying on people to
Absolutely.
get people they know.
Mhm.
So I
Yes.
think that how companies go to not just with hiring, but how they develop and promote people, very tactical. It sounds kind of human resourcey, but that's where the rubber meets the road. You got to do something. You've got to do something. So take a look at and really it's around opportunity. I mean, does everyone have an
Mhm.
opportunity? Is it truly fair and is it equitable? Or is
That's right.
it, so you don't want to get into check the box exercises, but you do need some measures of and some guidelines and some ways to say, are we doing better? So you got to do the hard work of saying, where are we today? What would good
Mhm.
look like for our organization? Where could we do better? What procedures could we put in place? What measures could we put in place to know if we're actually making a change and doing anything different? So I think that that's where organizations, but it starts with 100%. The leadership has to be leading that. It can be driven through grassroots. It can be driven through an employee resource group. It could be driven through teams, but the
Yes.
leadership has to be committed or you will hit a brick wall. You'll only get so far.
Yes, yes, definitely. We need the leaders to be able to impact that type of change that will stick,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Toward
yes,
to walk the talk, right?
right.
Which is hugely, it's a missing component in corporate spaces. So there's lots of, you said, opportunity there to do better. And I'm so glad that you have been pivotal in leading, that effort to transform the cultures, right? And thank you for the incredible work and the amazing career um, that you've had over the many years effecting change and transformation. Now, if you were to really think about, as we wrap up here, um, what any parting words that you have for those aspiring female executive leaders out there who are listening? They really want to take as much in on, from your leadership insights. And if you were to maybe summarize three things or meaningful actions that they need to really take in the course of their career in order to have a successful and meaningful one, right, in terms of legacy, what would those be?
Okay, let me see if I can summarize in 3 or so bullet points. So the first would be get to know I have a daughter who's in her young 20s. So this is what I would say to her.
Yeah.
I would say know who you are. Continuously do introspective work and really understand who you are. Know yourself first, um, and love that person and be true to that person first. Then you can show up as a fierce force in the world. And you want to be bold. Go for it. I think women, and well, we know from research and things, women often can be more reluctant than men in some situations. I think women need to be bold. We need to just go for it. And in order to go for it, you need to be okay with failure and okay with setbacks. So that's that resilience piece, right? Know yourself, be authentic, and then go for it and be sure, and that builds your resilience. And one would argue that if you aren't hearing enough no's, you're not pushing hard enough. Like just go for it. I'm a lifelong sports and athlete. You're not going to win every match. You're not going to win every game. That's okay because you got to keep playing. And so you got to be
Yep.
bold and you got to go forward and you've got to build that resilience. And then you
Yeah.
need to bring others in. You need to connect, bring others in because you don't do anything on your own. And so you really need to build that community, those connections, understand others, connect with others, because that's how you really can impact change. So you'll get all the knowledge and the ideas and tools and tactics, but it comes down to how you interrelate and how you can actually influence change. And so that really is about that emotional intelligence also of connecting with and engaging with the people in the world that you're in. So I think those would be some of the big nuggets of what sets you up for success. And and I have to add this in, you got to continue to learn and grow, continue to learn and grow. You're never done. And that's a great thing about the human experience. There's so much out there in the world, you could never know it all. So just keep learning. Just find out what you want to learn about and go learn it. Yeah.
And thank you so much for those takeaways. I'm sure all the aspiring women executive leaders are very grateful for that input and outpouring of wisdom you've given today. And if we've had to really just capture any particular uh, item or thing that you wish that you had done in that remarkable career of yours, do you have any idea, can you share really what that would be?
Something that I did.
You wish if you had done differently.
Oh, I wish I'd done differently. I'm not a person that lives with regret, because I kind of go for it. I'm kind of a just go try it kind of person. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been very blessed and had opportunities. I would say almost every role that I've had was not a lot of them were created. Like they created out of opportunities. They weren't something and I'm not,
Mhm.
I mean, I've had lots of goals. I'm not saying don't have goals. I'm just saying be ready. Be ready for there to be many paths towards what you think is the goal, and you might find something even better. So I think just always going for something new and different, but
Yeah.
enjoy where you are. So I think that, you know, you just don't know what's around the corner, and that's the exciting thing.
Yeah. Be prepared.
Be prepared for anything and be open. Always have your antenna up, because there's opportunities all around us that you've got to be open. You've got to be just open up, be ready.
Absolutely said. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been an amazing and highly insightful session chatting with you today. What a
Well, it's been a
remarkable
pleasure.
career. Thank you so much for just bringing authenticity in your roles and the passion for change, for transformation in all places, not only for people, human beings, but, on a planet level as well. So I highly commend you for that. And I thank all the listeners for watching us today or whenever, this is distributed. But again, best wishes in your career as a consultant. I know you're going to continue to do amazing things. And so many women executive leaders or male executive leaders are going to benefit from all that you've, been putting in um, for society betterment. So it's a pleasure having you today on BoostThru's Breaking Barriers interview series. And I know we'll be hearing more about you in the future. And of course, you're always welcome here again as a guest. Thank you.
Thank you, Saskia. And just remember, your story is your strength. So thank you so much.
Your story is your strength. All right. Have
Have a
another
great
great
day.
one. Bye bye.
Thank you, Saskia. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.